Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.
Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Co-host, Ed Kaluka. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
And welcome to the final show of the 38th season of LTN. Glad you could tune in right here on the Big 920 on Sunday mornings. Todd Bailing, your host from Phoenix, Arizona, joined by my three co-hosts, beginning with my longest tenured Ed Kaluka of West Bend, Wisconsin. Hey, man.
Good morning, Todd. Only 49 days to the first Cup race.
49 days. Is that to the Clash or to Daytona?
That's the beginning of the series.
Okay, so Daytona. And, of course, Dan Margetta of St. Francis, Wisconsin, and New Lincoln owner. Hi.
Hey, good morning. 38 years? We've been on 38 years. That means I've been here for 33 or 34. Because I listened to all those years, but I think about 4 or 5 years into it when I got on this.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yes, it certainly
It's
has.
Sunday, February 5th at the Los Angeles Coliseum.
Okay, there you go. 49 days to the Busch Clash. And Brian Schmidt of Ootsburg, USA.
Morning. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's that
1 week
season, isn't
from
it?
Today is Christmas Day already. That's amazing.
Yeah, and 2 weeks from today is New Year's Day, and for that reason, because it is falling on Sundays, we are going to be taking off this program those 2 days. The next program will be January 8th as we begin our 39th season. Good God, we're getting close to 40 years of doing this. Are you kidding me?
Means you're old.
I'm not old enough for that, am I? Speaking of getting older, this would be a good time to mention to everyone that before we are back in the 2023 season, Ed Kaluka will have been celebrated his birthday this coming Saturday.
How about that, huh?
Happy birthday, Ed.
Thank you.
Birthdays are good things, aren't they?
Yeah, as long as you keep having them.
That's the whole point. This week, it was Alan Kowicki's birthday this past Tuesday. I'd say happy birthday, but it's hard to be happy when you're dead, I guess. But they had the Kowicki banquet on his birthday, and that was shown live, free of charge, on the Racing America website. And Dylan Zampa of California was rightfully named the champion of the series this year. Had a great year. Nice kid. Not a bad speaker. Their guest speaker was Kurt Busch, which I thought was really interesting. Kurt Busch, of course, we haven't really heard a hell of a lot about him. He's been hurt, as you know. He had a brain injury, but he stood up and started doing a pretty neat speech. Now, he didn't really refer to notes, I would say. He grabbed the microphone and he kind of walked around the stage. He had a suit on and white tennis shoes, which is, I guess that's the new thing. You see it more and more. But
pretty much told his life story.
Yeah, that's really what it was. How he got breaks and how he took advantage of the breaks he got. And as he was going through his speech, you notice now this, sometimes when people are talking about certain things, it makes them tear up a little bit. And I can understand how Kurt has had several breaks in his career, several huge breaks as he got older and started making some pretty monumental mistakes. He's terrible at picking females out, but during the speech, every now and then he would tear up a little bit. You could hear his voice breaking, and he would, talk his way out of it. That's a normal thing. Everybody does that a little bit when they talk about sensitive subjects. But as he was going on, towards the end, he teared up pretty bad, and this is the only reference he made to his head injury. He said, when he teared up towards the end of his speech, he said, "This is a symptom of my injury," and he just basically walked away. That was the end of the speech. It was towards the end of it anyway, and I'm sure he wasn't real sure how he was going to wrap it up, but that was a real odd ending to it. This was just a symptom of my injury, and he walked out. But it was a great event all the way around, and congratulations to all the drivers. We got a couple guys from this state that were in it, and we're very proud of the effort that they put forward, and we think that we are well represented by young talent in the state of Wisconsin. And I believe that just because Alan Kowicki was from Wisconsin kind of carries a little weight when it comes to the Kowicki program, and they like to have somebody from this area, and we've had quite a few candidates from this area to be in the program. So
I think this year's program was it Jacob Nottestad and Riley Stengham, were those the two that were down there from here?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean I think they look at it too, because I think a lot of Wisconsin racers up here still have that kind of ethic that Alan Kowicki had. He did it his way thing. I don't think a lot of guys up here have an easy way to get where they get. I think a lot of guys up here have to work for it. I think they appreciate that.
They do. And like I said, well represented. We're very proud of the effort that Riley and Jacob both put forward into that program, and we're looking forward to them coming up with their list soon. I think you have till the end of the year to apply if you have not applied. So just look up KDDP and you'll find it sooner or later. It's out there. Other drivers from the state of Wisconsin, notable. Josh Bilicki, the part-timer, who lives, I think, in either Menominee Falls or Richfield, and he commutes to NASCAR. He has shown great proficiency in finding sponsors for himself. He has the Ziegler Automotive Group, and he is going to have a limited schedule and drive the Live Fast number 78 car this year. So Josh has landed on his feet once again, and we will see him on occasion.
And that's the car that recently switched over to Chevrolet and is now part of the Childress Alliance.
Yep, B.J. McLeod is the owner of that, correct?
Yes.
McLeod thing. Interesting story. I mean, McLeod's been around a little bit, and he's a survivor. They've got a couple of charters over there, right, Dan?
Well, they got one for the 78, I think, for sure. And he's got, there's part of that group that they have the charters and they hang on every week, and this is what they do. They provide an opportunity for guys to come in. You can run a limited schedule. You get to run what you can bring, I guess, and good for Josh. He's still around and he's still got places to go. And with more road courses, I've seen him. Brian, when we saw Josh Bilicki actually get to race a car, I thought he did really well. And I was at Daytona last year. He finished 9th when he had no restrictions. A lot of times you don't see these guys. A lot of times they got cruising like, we have the only car we got. You got to be careful. You can only run so many laps. You can't do this. We only have enough to do that. Nobody has an exact real shot at a whole race. And the time I saw Josh had a real shot at a race was at Daytona last year, and he finished 9th and led some laps. So
in the Xfinity car, yeah, and it was a car that we talked to him before the race, and he said, this wasn't the greatest team he was with, and he wasn't sure how well it was going to work out, and it cost a lot more than he thought, and then he went out and performed. And we even went down there and talked to him afterwards, remember? And the smile on his face was, priceless to see him that happy and actually have a really good run once. And his car had some scars on it too, because it was not a clean race.
When you think that his background is road course racing, he does not have a short track background. And I'll tell you something. Here's a guy who has learned oval track racing in NASCAR at the top levels. So that's a pretty impressive way. I mean, how about this? He's managed to survive with the only oval track experience he's ever had in NASCAR racing. Pretty amazing.
He's been pretty good on the road courses, though. That's where his background was.
Absolutely, and he's a road course specialist. He's an instructor, and all around a nice kid. If you've ever met him, you'll be glad you did. He's a very honorable young man, and a great representative for his sponsors and for the state of Wisconsin. We're going to sneak away, and when we come back, we're going to have an old friend join us on this program to talk a little bit about some short track racing things that are very interesting lately. Hang in there.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines. Just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Hey, race fans, Elkhart Lake's Road America Season Pass is now available at early bird pricing for a limited time. The Road America Season Pass makes a great gift for you or the racing fan on your gift list. This special personalized pass includes 50-plus days of racing, including the IndyCar, Superbikes, and more. Hurry and order your Season Pass today at RoadAmerica.com. That's RoadAmerica.com or 1-800-365-RACE. Road America, your national park of speed.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them, 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
The new episode of the Larrabee and LePay podcast is out. Wayne and Matt discuss why the Badgers bowl game has more importance this year and why Greg Gard has the men's basketball team ranked and winning games close. Wayne has some thoughts on Aaron Rodgers still playing and a great couple of play-by-play travel stories you won't want to miss. It's all in the latest episode of the Larrabee and LePay podcast, available right now on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the program. The first time I ever saw Mark Gundrum, I was announcing at Slinger Speedway, and the door opened behind me, and some guy standing there says, "Hey, it's my buddy's birthday. Can you say happy birthday for me?" Now that's quite a way to meet a guy. As we have become as good of friends as you can possibly get over the years. Mark was hired as the PR guy at Slinger Speedway, left Slinger for a job with ASA until that merged with, turned into, morphed into ARCA. We called him ARCA Mark for many years until recently he finally retired from his job in racing.
And hey, Todd.
Yes.
First time I met Mark Gundrum was at your Christmas party one year. I talked to him, and he said, "Hey, you like coming to races? Why don't you come out to Slinger next year and help us out?" And that led into pretty much a week deal doing now.
How about that? And now, from his retirement, as he has split time between his place in Wisconsin and his place in Florida, Mark has come out of retirement and is going to help the new ASA series get off the ground and get started again. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Gundrum. Hey, bud.
Hey, guys. Hey, so what's old is new, isn't it?
I'll be your PR guy any day.
Well, Mark, what's your new title?
Yeah.
I don't have one.
Well, let's make one up right here and now. Business manager. You've had that before.
The role would be the fancy term of consultant. I think is really the role that I'm playing right now in helping the Stars National Tour, the ASA Stars National Tour, get off the ground.
Several tracks you probably worked with in the past, and a handful of them in there that you have absolutely never had anything to do with. Like, for instance, North Wilkesboro. How cool is this?
Right. Very cool. The All-Star race being named to North Wilkesboro, the big news of the off season for the week before the Charlotte race, and then
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Assuming that they would be spending a lot of money fixing the place up, and assuming that they would be looking to do more than just a couple races, Bob Sargent, Track Enterprises president, reached out to SMI, and they said, yeah, we're going to do more than just. And so we get to take this super late model tour to North Wilkesboro, which is very cool.
Oh, totally cool. So give us a little background on how this got put together and your relationship with Bob Sargent and what you're going to do for him.
Sure. I met Bob Sargent while working at ARCA. Bob, when I was working at ARCA, originally was the promoter of the two ARCA Menard Series races at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield and the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds down south, the two dirt mile tracks. And I realized pretty quickly that Bob was a hardworking, honest guy, and had an ability and an opportunity to do more than what he was doing there. And we formed a relationship, and his company and ARCA, his company became a very strategic partner with us as we needed to take races into markets on behalf of our sponsor, Menards. And in some cases, those markets didn't want or couldn't handle a race event promotion like the ARCA Menard Series. So Bob's company would work out a lease agreement with the racetrack to become the promoter. And we would work through Menards to find them marketing partners to help ensure success of those events. And what started as a couple races morphed into as many as 8 a year. And so Bob and I worked very closely over about a 10 or 15 year period. That's really how I got to know him. And, he laughed at me when I told him I was going to retire. And he left me alone for about a month. And then he called me in January of this year and said, hey, I bought CRA, the CRA Super Series. And I asked him why. And he said, opportunity. And I said, good for you. I think it's good if it's the right opportunity, and not much came of it. And then a couple months later, he called me back and he said, hey, I'm going to do a similar deal with Greg and Angie McCarnes and acquire the ARCA Midwest Tour. That's the super late model tour that runs here more locally. Mm-hmm. And, that kind of got my attention, and that's the first time he said, would you be willing to help? And of course, when I got started, before I even worked for Slinger, I was a fan. I grew up in Slinger and watched super late models race. And, that was my first real enjoyment and what attracted me to the sport. So I said, yeah, let's talk about what you're thinking and what have you. And over the course of the summer, he continued to talk out loud about the opportunity to maybe bring back a national tour for this, let's just call it grassroots type of racing. And that did interest me as well. In September, he announced a partnership with the Southern Super Series. the Snowball Derby, Pensacola Raceway, to partner with that Southern Series, now controlling interest of 3 regional tours, and that made the possibility of a national tour a reality based on the fact that we had an existing customer base of racetracks and competitors and truly fans. So that's how it got started in a nutshell.
And he's actually from Wisconsin, right?
Who's that? Bob?
Sargent.
Sargent is from Macon, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So it's Midwest-based and understands the Midwest, racing. This schedule is anything but just in Wisconsin. We go from Florida to North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee. This is a pretty big deal with some pretty nice events.
Yeah, I mean it's really, even for me, and I've been a fan of the historical aspect of, the big short track races around the country. And these are the tracks, less a couple big events around the country. This schedule represents some of the biggest, not only the greatest short tracks, but the biggest events, currently that we've been able to partner with. The Glass City 200 at Toledo, the Winchester 400 in Indiana, the All-American 400 in Nashville, and probably the biggest coup on this entire schedule is the Tuesday night, July 11th, partnership with Todd at the Slinger Nationals. That was really an amazing thing to get done, and kudos to Bob Sargent and Todd Thielen for working that out. Really a coup to this first-year schedule.
I'm a little amazed that he did it, because the first thing you have to ask yourself is what would be in it for Todd Thielen and Slinger Speedway. Well, first of all, the prestige of being on this schedule is pretty impressive. But really, Mark, I'm curious about the drivers. What have we got? What have we hearing? How many cars are we looking at? How many are going to be touring? There's a winner's circle program of some sort, isn't there?
Yeah, it's being developed, and it's based on a model that I was able to participate in back in my days at ASA. And in its simplest terms, it is a program designed to reward those teams and support those teams who support this series. Teams who are willing to commit and then execute 100% participation in the ASA Stars National Series are going to be part of a program that rewards them financially on a race-to-race basis. Most series have something like this. Some call it an ABC plan. Some call it whatever. But the idea here is to truly put forth an effort to create a financial model that makes it worthwhile for these race teams to, drag their stuff all over the country and support us. And our goal and our promise is that we're going to return that support to them with financial reward. So,
Mark, I'm going to have you hold on for a second here because we're overdue for a break. But we're going to come back with Mark Gundrum, who is with the new ASA series. How great is that? We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
The Admirals hit the road one more time before Christmas as they travel to Chicago to take on the Wolves. Tomasino at the blue line. Left circle, Novak. Right circle, Evangelista. Front of the net, Schneider tipped it and he scored! Pre-game coverage starts at 2:30 on Sunday. Face-off is at 3 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
We're talking with ASA Stars Series consultant Mark Gundrum, who is joining us from your home in Wisconsin. You're home for Christmas, huh?
Home for the holidays.
Very nice.
Hey, Mark, that Winter Circle program you're talking about, I think is a pretty good key to this Stars National Tour. How's it been received so far? Has it been pretty positive? I think it's got the potential to bring some cars up here to the Slinger Nationals that were maybe on the fence before in years past, that were thinking of coming and weren't sure making that whole big trek up here. And secondly, have there been any teams that you know that would be interested you could see coming up here?
Absolutely. You know, it goes back to your question, Todd, about, you know, why would Slinger want to be a part of this? Yeah, there's probably some prestige in being part of this schedule, but I think the real deal is, you know, we believe that these top touring super late model guys that may or may not otherwise make the trek up here will now come, especially if they're part of this rewards program. And, you know, we're building this thing to reward more than 20 teams. So it's really just a matter of, you know, who makes the commitment and who will participate in all these races. But, and I know you guys tried to get a hold of me last week after that meeting we had in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that several race teams found a way to get a hold of me yet that day, including Steve Apel, who, quite honestly, I don't know, but obviously I'm aware of and I've watched and I respect as a racer. And, you know, he reached out to me right away and started asking a bunch of questions and would like to find a way to be a part of it. You know, guys like Bubba Pollard and Thorne and, you know, Derek Krause, unfortunately, he's lost his truck ride, but they were at that meeting in Indy and they're looking for a way to put a deal together to run this thing. Most of these teams, Nassie and Nathan and these guys that are chasing these bigger races around the country have kind of been looking for something like this for a while. I've heard that Ty Majeski commented after seeing the schedule that even though he's a full-time truck series racer, he can do all these races. And it's just a matter of, you know, putting the deal together to do that. Casey Johnson and his team have made some comments down at the Snowball Derby that they're looking to find a way to do this and run all of them. So, you know, I think the key here is that you get these people to commit to run all the races so that, you know, a month or 2 months out when we want to start talking about for today's conversation, the Slinger Nationals, Todd and his marketing team have a good idea of who's coming and they're committed to come and they can start marketing that to the fans and the fans can know what to expect when we roll into town in July.
Wow, that sounds like a cool plan there. One of the other topics we wanted to discuss is you have a close connection with Bob Sargent. I guess we're wondering, there's been some news out about the state of Wisconsin sticking some money into the Milwaukee Mile. Wondering if you've had any conversations with Bob Sargent, because the thing we've heard over the many years was that the state fair is a real, you know, bugger to work with, and they don't really want to stick money into the place. And now we're seeing what's happening here. Has Bob talked to you about how he's been able to crack that nut that no one has been able to do with the state fair board and get something going at the Milwaukee Mile?
We've had some conversation, and my involvement directly with Track Enterprises' relationship with the Milwaukee Mile is really not formal. But clearly, I have some familiarity, and I'm going to just offer this right up, guys. Bob Sargent is very approachable. You guys know that. You've talked to him from the Infield Media Center around the Father's Day race. And I can speak for him all I want, but I'm thinking you guys ought to just talk to him directly. What I can tell you is this. His efforts to keep racing at the mile through the Father's Day Super Late Model Race and, the ARCA Menard Series event in August led to building a relationship with a guy named John Yingling, who's the chairman of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. And for as long as I can remember, the Fair Park has had a little bit of a bad reputation amongst us race fans. We had the feeling that they didn't want to support racing. And I don't think that's true. My exposure to Mr. Yingling, he's a race fan, first and foremost. He's been attending races.
That's different.
He's been attending races at the Milwaukee Mile since, I think, the 70s or 80s. So this is not some passing interest. This is a guy who's truly a race fan. And Bob has forged this relationship with Mr. Yingling and the staff there, including the new executive director, Sherry Black. As we know, it was announced that the Camping World Truck Series, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, will come back as part of a doubleheader with the ARCA Menard Series in August. And with an event of that stature comes some requirements from the facility.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner. Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.
And so, as I understand it, NASCAR sent some people up here and said, hey, this is what you need to do to get the place up to spec. And they turned around and went to the state of Wisconsin, who is supporting Bob Sargent's efforts to keep and grow racing at the Milwaukee Mile. And that's how that money was established.
Fantastic.
That's like one of the best Christmas gifts we could have here in Wisconsin to hear something like that.
Yeah,
well, it helps having a the chairman of the board of directors that's actually a race fan.
People need to take that to heart. Mr. Yingling is a race fan, and that really helps us as race fans look at the facility and say, hey, you know what? Mr. Yingling's vision is there's a big piece of property there that they need to use for what it was built for, and that's racing cars. And so he's supporting Bob Sargent's efforts every way he can.
Yeah, so part of that would be soft walls, I would imagine.
Yeah, they just put them in.
Yeah, they're there. So, I'm sure the foam block has to be replaced, but I'm pretty sure the rest of the structure of those safer barriers is intact and operational. And it's just a maintenance program now, quite honestly.
Well, Mark, if you don't mind, we're going to keep track of how you are doing and what's happening with the ASA Stars series as time goes on, and we're going to call you regularly, especially during this off season, so you can update us on a few things.
Be happy to do it. I think I've been on the show a few times over the years.
Yeah, I think so too. It's great to hear your voice. Happy holidays to you and your lovely wife Kay, and from all of us, we're proud to know you and happy that you're doing what you're doing for the sport of short track racing, my friend. Talk soon.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody.
Mark Gundrum, we'll be right back.
Hey, race fans, Elkhart Lake's Road America Season Pass is now available at early bird pricing for a limited time. The Road America Season Pass makes a great gift for you or the racing fan on your gift list. This special personalized pass includes 50-plus days of racing, including the IndyCar, Superbikes, and more. Hurry and order your Season Pass today at RoadAmerica.com. That's RoadAmerica.com or 1-800-365-RACE. Road America, your national park of speed.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
This week, it's a Monday night matchup with the Rams at Lambeau. Coverage begins at 5. Packers football on 97.3 The Game is presented by Annex Wealth Management. Give your retirement plan the attention it deserves.
Welcome back. We giving you a little heads up here. Later in the program, we are going to talk with Derek Thorne, who just won the Snowball Derby a couple of weeks ago. And the former Wisconsin resident is living in California and has agreed to be on, even though it's pretty damn early in the morning in California. I think Brian and I were talking. In fact, Brian was talking with the group before the program last week, talking about what it's going to take for SRX Series to survive. And boy, I don't know where you came up with that, off the top of your head or whatever. You said what it could really use is being moved from Saturday nights to a weeknight. And I'll be damned, but this just happened. It's switching from CBS to ESPN, and it's going to be the return of Thursday Night Thunder starting July 13th. How did you figure that out?
Well, it just goes with the way the streaming platform has been moving over the last couple of years since COVID. Basically, the bigger events across the country have more eyes on it during the week, especially in the evening when everybody's settling in, to watch TV for 2 hours before you go to bed. And it kind of that's where on the dirt side of stuff, which I follow a lot, this big late model thing, this Castrol Flow Night in America has really moved forward and had the big purses. And they're doing it with the sprint cars with Kyle Larson's tour. So it was natural. I didn't know that this is what they were actually going to do. I was pretty surprised when I saw the press release this week, but it makes perfect sense. It's a little later in the year. You see they're going to first start, it's going to be July 13th and then through August 17th, the 6-race program. But it makes sense. And with ESPN to jump on it, I mean, that time of the year, if you think about July and August, it's right. It's one of them is during the All-Star break for baseball. Baseball's the only thing that's going on. So if people really don't want to see that on a Thursday night, this fits that slot right before NFL season gets going in the end of August. It's perfect spot for it, I think.
It is. And in case anyone is wondering, yes, Todd Thielen at Slinger Speedway has spoken to Don Hawk from SRX. That's all. There is no schedule out there, but I do know that they have had a conversation. Does that mean that SRX is coming back to Slinger Speedway? Absolutely not. We don't have any reason to think so. But they have spoken, and you might want to just keep that in the back of your mind. So
yeah, they haven't announced where any of their races are going to be. They haven't said even if they're going to do a couple dirt tracks or what they're going to do. I think with them moving now from a Saturday night to a Thursday, you're going to have to meet with track owners, and it's going to have to make financial sense for them to do this. It's probably going to cost maybe a little more to host the race because ESPN on a weeknight, they're assuming they're going to have a lot more eyes than you had on a Saturday night. So that's going to have to make sense, and it's going to have to make sense for the location where they have it that you're going to get people to show up on a Thursday night. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere is not going to make sense versus more of a metropolitan area. Slinger would fit the metropolitan area form, because
it comes down to the drivers. Who are they going to get to run their series? Yep. We haven't heard any of that yet. And good for ESPN. They'll bring him back the Thursday Night Thunder name. I mean, it's got some history behind it. Work back in the days with SAC races.
That's another thing that opens it up with it being on a Thursday night. That opens you up to any driver really you want. You had the IndyCar deal. That time Helio ran it. He's up against an IndyCar race, so you had to quickly get from a Saturday night to get to the next track. Running Thursday nights, that opens it wide open. They can pretty much pick about anybody that wants to participate. So that'll be interesting to see how they go forward with that also.
Even though I have a very close relationship with my boss, Todd Thielen, and his wonderful wife, Elizabeth, I never, ever talk money with them about what anything costs or anything having to do with money. I wonder what the sanctioning fee is to have an SRX race, and I wonder how that would change going from a network Saturday night to a cable network on a weeknight. And it all has to do with, as Brian just said, eyes. How many eyes are going to be watching? That's what everything is based on. That's what, all fees are based on how many people see it so that you can sell product. That's what.
One of the biggest difference also with ESPN also does the streaming service. So whatever you're watching on ESPN, you can watch on your phone. Not sure that works with CBS because I don't know how many CBS has a streaming platform. So going forward now, you might get more eyeballs even with people out and about because ESPN, you'll be able to watch that on your phone through the ESPN app.
Brian, you and I would agree that streaming is the way of the future. I'm sure there is a major streaming service for CBS, but in fact, aren't they the ones behind Paramount?
Yeah,
that could be. Yeah, that could be.
Plus.
That's what I thought. So, I mean, there's going to be ways, and if it isn't prolific right now, this is the tip of the iceberg. We're just coming into the streaming era, and we're going to see more and more of it. As a matter of fact, the drum beats have gotten louder. That NBC has I don't know if they've made it clear or if it's just a rumor. Probably, let's call it a rumor. There's nothing clear on this. That if NBC is going to bid on the NASCAR contract again, like they have every intention of moving more and more racing to their Peacock streaming platform. So now, Ed, you say you have Peacock. What does it cost again, monthly just to have this streaming service?
$9 and something.
Okay, so $10 a month just for Peacock if you're going to want to watch the second half of the NASCAR season or selected races anyway. You're going to have,
and that might come into the rights. I mean, I'm sure the teams don't want a heavy streaming thing on the TV deal because
or the sponsors.
Right, the sponsors. That is because it'd be less people. It's harder to sell a sponsor, I think, on a streaming thing right now because we're still in its infancy. If it got really big and maybe it becomes the way of the future, then it might change. But right now, I think people want it on regular
what Brian said. It's eyes, right? It's how many eyes are on it, and it makes sense that there's a lot more eyes on regular television than there is on your telephone or your computer. It's nice to have that as an option, but
Peacock you get on your TV.
Well,
Peacock I have on my smart TVs.
Okay, so it's a streaming service. You can put it through your television.
Yeah, and there's two different versions of Peacock. There's Peacock and there's Peacock Plus. I think the Peacock is $4.99 a month. The Peacock Plus I think is $9 a month. I haven't really dove into it. I get the $4.99 a month one, and I don't know what the difference is. There's probably different shows you can see between it because that's more than sports, and that's all I watch is sports.
Yeah, they haven't put something on there that I have to have it to watch, like a NASCAR race.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
my wife would probably know what the other stuff is. Oh, without ads. Okay, yeah. Then.
It's all about eyes, as Brian has said, and how many people are going to watch their telephones versus what it would be to watch to pull up and watch Channel 4. We'll be back.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Hey, race fans, Elkhart Lake's Road America Season Pass is now available at early bird pricing for a limited time. The Road America Season Pass makes a great gift for you or the racing fan on your gift list. This special personalized pass includes 50-plus days of racing, including the IndyCar, Superbikes, and more. Hurry and order your Season Pass today at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com or 1-800-365-RACE. Road America, your national park of speed.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
The new episode of the Larrabee and LePay podcast is out. Wayne and Matt discuss why the Badgers bowl game has more importance this year and why Greg Gard has the men's basketball team ranked and winning games close. Wayne has some thoughts on Aaron Rodgers still playing and a great couple of play-by-play travel stories you won't want to miss. It's all in the latest episode of the Larrabee and LePay podcast, available right now on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
The extremely short offseason that is the dirt world is actually going on right now. But there was one race last night in DuQuoin, Illinois, the Southern Illinois Center for the Power Eye Midgets. The Junior Knepper 55 was run indoors at the little 5th mile oval there. Daniel Robinson was your winner. Zach Bowden, who is from Cambridge, Wisconsin, runs in the Badger Midgets. He finished second in that race.
A week before Christmas.
Yeah, that was a pretty big thing.
Bowden came from like 19th to finish second.
Yeah, he had a really good run. Some of the other news we were going to get to over the last couple of weeks, but we haven't because we've been so busy with other information. Some of the national tours that are going to run around the state of Wisconsin next year. We'll start with the World of Outlaw Sprints. They're going to have their traditional 2-day date at Beaver Dam, June 16th and 17th for the Jim Boyd Memorial. They're going to go over to New Richmond, Wisconsin's Cedar Lake Speedway, June 30th and July 1st. And then they're back again at Wilmot on July 8th. The All-Star Circuit of Champions sprints show up around here again. They'll be at Wilmot on May 13th. June 2nd, this is a new one. They're going to be at the Dodge County Fairgrounds Half Mile. The All-Star Circuit of Champions sprints will be on Friday night, June 2nd. And then this was big news for Plymouth. They get the Rice-Rudine race back again on Saturday night, June 3rd. That's $26,000 to win. And with the spat going on between some of the Outlaw drivers and the World of Outlaw series, you may see a lot higher name drivers there than one would expect, so keep posted for that. The USAC Silver Crown Series will be back at Madison on June 23rd. The USAC National Non-Wing Sprint Car Series will be June 24th at Wilmot and June 25th at Angel Park. And new this year, at Sun Prairie, the USAC National Midgets will have the Firemen's Nationals as a 2-day show on Sunday, September 3rd and Monday, September 4th. That's Labor Day weekend for that, so that's kind of a big news there. Lucas Oil Series does not come to Wisconsin, but they do get close. They're going to be down in Farmer City, Illinois on Friday, May 12th, and Fairbury on Saturday, May 13th. Dan and I are planning on trying to make that trip because that should be good. They've never run at those tracks before. They'll also be out at Steer Creek Speedway out in Spring Valley, Minnesota, July 6th, 7th, and 8th for the big Gopher 50. And the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Models, they will be at Mississippi Thunder Speedway again for the Dairyland Showdown, May 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then also back at USA Nationals at Cedar Lake on August 3rd, 4th, and 5th for the big USA Nationals event. And the biggest news of the week came out midweek, I think it was Wednesday. Tony Stewart announced that the Eldora Million is back for 2023. However, this year it will be for the 410 sprint cars. Again, we just talked about before, the streaming service thing. This will be put on Flow Racing. The $1,023 to win race will be on a Thursday night, ironically enough, to get the eyes. It'll have a $1.4 million purse, and it is 2 days, or the Wednesday, Thursday before the Kings Royal, which is World of Outlaws sanctioned on Friday, Saturday. So that opens up the big can of worms, is will the World of Outlaws allow these guys to race that event? Because their current clause for the Platinum drivers is you cannot race in an event within 48 hours of a World of Outlaw event and within 100 miles. Well, this is going to be at the exact same track their next event's going to be. Heard an interview
as bad as golf, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I heard an interview with Brad Sweet this week. Someone asked him about it, and he just kind of schnookered and said, "I got to win the championship 4 years to meet what I'm going to make in one race. Of course, I'm going to race it." So it's $1 million to win. Second place is $100,000. That's nothing to sneeze at. Third, $50,000. Fourth, $25,000, and fifth, $15,000. $6,000 to start the event. Wednesday, they're going to divide the group into two, and they're going to run 12,000 to win races, which is ironically a little more than a regular Outlaw feature. Also, that is over I think $2,000 to start those events. So a lot of money on the line for that.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.
Stay tuned. Some people think the Outlaws will grant them a waiver to run that race. Other people think they're going to play hardball and stick to it. So the sprint car world is all up in arms about this. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Big thing about the deal is, though, the Outlaws got their own streaming platform or Dirt Vision. You know, this is on
Correct.
Flow. Competing. It's competition there too.
Yep, it's basically Flow Racing, you know, giving the Outlaws the middle finger and saying, hey, we're going to get all our drivers on our platform anyway. So what we thought was not a big deal with streaming just a few short years ago has turned into the biggest thing going on in all of racing right now, and it's fighting for the rights to have these guys on these different platforms. And you know, I don't know.
Very nice.
We get both, Dan, so it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, you know, whatever one it's on, we just turn it on.
I mentioned this is the final program of the 38th season here from LTN, and since we're going to have Derek Thorne on in the final segment, I thought I would use this opportunity right now to thank some folks who have really been totally instrumental in making sure you get to listen to this program every week, including our friends from the Big 920 program director, Tim Scott, and, of course, Gregory John. They are friends of this program, and we couldn't do it without them, and we certainly appreciate it. Our great contributors, their invaluable contributions, Aaron Baird and Paul Reichert for helping us all year long. We do appreciate it. Jerry Albee at Dells Raceway Park for letting me use that facility all summer long when I'm up at my cabin. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to be on the program, or I'd have to come back to Milwaukee every week. And our fantastic partners, including Road America, Mike Kircher, John Ewert, and Mary Lou Hain. Thanks so much for everything you do for us.
And remember, those season passes are still at a discount price to the end of the year.
Wagner Automotive, and of course Casey Wagner, couldn't do it without you. A guy I have to tell you is as quality a human being as I've ever known in my life, Mike Egan and the folks at Bonafide Security Solutions. Thanks so much. Froggy, what hasn't he done for people in the racing world, and everybody at PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend? We do appreciate it. The Plymouth Dirt Track sponsoring us this year, Bill Weinog, Track Enterprises, of course, and the events they put on at the Milwaukee Mile. We are very, very fortunate to have all these sponsors and folks that stand behind us and believe in us, and we do appreciate that. We're going to come back with Derek Thorne, who won the Snowball Derby 2 weeks ago. Hang in there with us.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. services. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Hey, race fans, Elkhart Lake's Road America Season Pass is now available at early bird pricing for a limited time. The Road America Season Pass makes a great gift for you or the racing fan on your gift list. This special personalized pass includes 50-plus days of racing, including the IndyCar, Superbikes, and more. Hurry and order your Season Pass today at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com or 1-800-365-RACE. Road America, your national park of speed.
The Admirals hit the road one more time before Christmas as they travel to Chicago to take on the Wolves. Tomasino at the blue line. Left circle, Novak. Right circle, Evangelista. Front of the net, Schneider tipped it and he scored! Pre-game coverage starts at 2:30 on Sunday. Face-off is at 3 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And welcome to the final segment of our 38th season here on LTN. We are fortunate enough to have been able to get Derek Thorne to be on with us. I say that because it's ungodly early in California. It's too damn early for a guy to be up talking on the phone, but Derek did it. Congratulations on that Snowball Derby win, man. That was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, thank you, guys. That one felt extra special, and I think it was just more special for a couple reasons. One being it was the last race for our team at Camel Motorsports, and then the second was the fact that we had such good runs the 2 previous years and came up short due to some controversial contact. And to finally have it in the bag for us after those 2 years just made everything that much more special.
I saw a number that I had a hard time believing. It was a 300-lap race, and you actually led more than 300 laps.
Yeah. Yeah, we set our own record. We beat our own record 3 years in a row. The first year was in 2020. We led like 207 laps, which was an all-time record for most laps led in a single race. And then the next year we led 289, which is the next best, obviously. And then I honestly didn't think that's possible to beat 289. That's a lot of laps led. And then we went into overtime this year, so that's why it shows on paper. I think the race total laps was 315. And we led 307 of them, and we lost like 6 or 7 of those due to some controlled cautions and guys staying out on tire strategy. So, I mean, but yeah, I don't see that record falling anytime soon either.
There was a lot of restarts at the end of that race, and you could still be doing restarts. Right now, 2 weeks later, you could be doing restarts, and you still would have kicked their ass by the time you got to turn 2.
It seems like it's crazy how I think what it is, you get to the first 3 quarters of the race, right? Everybody knows it's 300 laps. Everybody's got their head on straight. Everybody's thinking clearly. Everybody kind of cycles in, falls into the running order. But towards the end of the race, we've had such a dominant car the last few years that guys get desperate. So towards the end of the race, guys are getting more bold, per se, or putting themselves in riskier positions. And we actually got put 3 wide into 1. That last restart with Sammy Smith and with Nassie. And fortunately, this time it worked out, but just like in the years past, you just don't know, right? It's not over till it's over, and you get a guy behind you that's desperate enough, he does some dumb stuff, and a lot of times you're on the receiving end of it, and it costs you.
How nervous were you with Sammy Smith behind you, knowing his history of being, a chrome horn kid? He blows everybody out of the way in multiple series all the time.
Right. No, you're right. It's just one of those things. We've been in those positions enough to where I felt like I wouldn't say you're mentally prepared for it just because you've been in that position, but those guys are good. Like Sammy Smith, I've talked to him a little bit, and he's a really nice kid, and he raced me clean. And Nassie, I think, has a good head on his shoulders, but he at the same time, it's the Derby. And when it comes down to it, gloves are off, and you got to do what you got to do.
You know, Derek, the first time I saw you down there was in 2011, and I think you ended up blowing like 2 motors, and you flipped the car in the feature or in the Derby. And I thought, man, this guy came all the way from California. Why would he come back? And then you kept coming back and leading all those laps. So it was really cool to see you finally get the win. It had to be more special, considering your history there too, right?
No, 100%. You know, and you look back 10 years ago or 11 years ago, there wasn't a lot of California guys making the trip out there, and you know, the transition from 11 to 22. You know, a lot of it, like Ricky Brooks was the head tech director, had been for a long time at the Derby, and he became a tech director out west. And people unbecomes to most people, like the West Coast chassis rules and eligibility for super lates was different than East Coast. So, like, you really couldn't take a West Coast super late out east and be competitive because it was like a perimeter chassis, different shock package, different rules, different widths, track widths and stuff. And, you know, and thanks to Ricky Brooks over the last, 5-6 years and us getting teamed up with Fury, you know, it's kind of created like a West Coast push because I think now you'll see almost, 5 to 8 guys from the West Coast, that fill out the starting lineup. But like you said, it's special to be able to come from the West Coast. You know, we don't run there all year, to go out east and to have the cars we have and to run against the competition of Josh Berry and Gregson and to see William Byron and you see Cup Series crew chiefs walking around the garage. And it's extra special for us being that we're a small team. But when you see those guys you see on Sundays, you kind of idolize. It's a pretty humbling experience knowing that you beat them.
You drove at the Slinger Nationals this last year for Steve Apel, but you've driven at Slinger before, back when you were living in Wisconsin, when you drove for Ken Wills. How long ago was that?
You know, I still have my Wisconsin phone number from back in the day, but I lived in Wisconsin for about 3 years, starting in 2007. And we drove for Ken Wills and got to travel the country and run the ASA, what was then the ASA Late Model Series, and got to run like Milwaukee Mile, Bristol Motor Speedway, Pensacola, San Antonio, Texas, Hawkeye Downs. We went to some really cool places that year, but I remember it was some awesome experiences. We'd literally load up in the hauler, right, and there was no close drive, so we'd all be 5 or 6 deep in the hauler driving, 1,000 to 2,000 miles one direction, and we'd unload, race, and come home. But, man, it was an awesome experience. And to come back out to Wisconsin after being gone for 10 years with Steve Apel this year at the Nationals, and Steve, his brother Jared, were there with us. And some of his crew guys were there with us helping us out and actually helped us get through the pit stops and get through Friday and Saturday and the chaos that's the Derby. So it's awesome to get to know them. Wisconsin people have always been so kind and nice, and it was awesome to have them with us to help us get through it.
Derek, thanks for being on the program. We do appreciate it. Congratulations on as impressive a race as I've ever seen in my life, and hopefully we'll see a race in the near future back at Slinger.
Yeah, hopefully so. Appreciate you guys having me on. Enjoy your Sunday.
All right, go back to bed, man.
You're on it. You got it.
All right, Derek Thorne, winner of the Snowball Derby, and how about that? Led 307 laps of a 300-lap race. That's hard to do. Well, I can't believe it, but our season is over. By the way, I was negligent when going through our list of sponsors. Probably our longest running sponsor we've had on this program, Miller Sales and Service, Jerry, Tom, and Brad Miller, for their support over the years, and I buy my cars from Brad Miller. So Jerry,
so do
Miller.
I. And Elaine,
cool.
too. Thank you, Elaine.
And Elaine, the real brains of the outfit.
Yes.
There you go. Elaine Miller. And not a bad photographer either. So, gentlemen, can you believe it? The 38th season is wrapped up, and we're looking at number 39. It'll be 3 weeks from today, January 8th.
Merry Christmas to all.
And we do appreciate you making us a part of the program for sure. Here's what I want you to remember. Real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. LTN is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losey. For all of us, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and see you in 3 weeks.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.